Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Agajanana Padmarkam Gajananam Aharnisham Anekadam Tam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. Welcome to all for this session on Ganesha Purana to chapter 84. In the previous chapter, we have seen the story of Bhargavarama, how he killed the person Kartavirya who having thousand arms, and the one who disrespected his parents and killed both his parents. So he killed Kartavirya as well all other warriors on the earth, wandering around the earth for 21 times. And before doing all these things, he performed a severe austerity pleasing Lord Gajanana. And on hearing this, the Vyasa wanted to make a query regarding where he exactly performed that austerity. The Vyasa, the sage, asked, in what place did Rama perform this absolutely miraculous austerity which could able to get him the vision of Lord Gajanana? Tell me, O Lord of the worlds, for in spite of listening, I still have not had enough. Brahma continued the story with a new one. During the four world ages, Krita, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, there was a sacred place famous under the name Mayureshwara, where the Lord of the gods descended mounted on a peacock. Mayura here basically means peacock in Sanskrit, and killed the bull of demons called the Tarakasura. Since probably it must be Padmasura or Tarakasura, because here it is mentioned as lotus demon, since or maybe Kamalasura. Since he was mounted on a peacock, it is obvious that he is the lord of the peacock. It became famous when prized by the gods and the sages. Bhargavarama performed his austerity there, as a result of which he gained the eggs, and so he himself became famous in the triple world as Parashurama. But listen to this legend I'm now going to tell you, O excellent stage. There was a demon called Taraka who was very strong and very bold. He performed a very harsh austerity for 1000 years, and pleased with that, Brahma gave him absolute security. That is, he himself, Brahma himself gave him the absolute security, saying, you will never experience death at the hands of gods, sages, heavenly musicians, snakes, or the Rakshasas, nor from their multitudes of swords and daggers. Skanda will be your death when he is born. The Skanda is not yet born, and when he is born, he will be the only one who can cause death to Taraka. That means till that time, till Skanda is being born, the Taraka will be almost invincible and he cannot be killed. Taraka deliberately asked for one such kind of a blessing because by that time Sati was up, and because Brahma has already told him that Skanda will be born out of Parvati and Shiva. And Parvati, in her previous life, she was Sati and she was already died and she left her body in the Dakshayagna, and Shiva is wandering around without a wife, and the possibility that the Parvati and Shiva to get united and for the birth of Skanda is itself, that possibility itself is a rare. So with that assumption, Taraka had asked for one such kind of a blessing. Having given ear to this boon, Taraka, both arrogant and powerful, harmed the people who were dwelling in the triple world. O sage, he cast into his place of confinement Brahmins who were devoted to the recitation of Vedas. So he obstructed the Brahmins from reciting the Vedas, because when they recite the Vedas and perform the yajna, the gods, the demigods will become more and more powerful. Those who are performing austerities and others who are engaged in fire sacrifices, the yajnas, after he had brought all the kings and snakes into subjection, he then went to heaven, and all the gods, led by Indra, went to a cave in the Himalayas because of the fear of Tarakasura. Through fear of him, no fear through fear of him, no sacrificial or devotional activity occurred anywhere, and to all beings he had a messenger proclaim. I alone, he had that Tarakasura had sent a message to all of them saying that I alone am the Lord, the God, the Brahmin, and the family deity, and I am the only one in the universe who should be honored and worshipped. Anybody who at any time or place worships or does obeisance to another will be struck by their staff and he will go to Yama's abode. So Taraka had declared himself that he is the only god who need to be worshipped and honored, and no worship or honoring need to be done to anybody else. And if he finds that if somebody is worshipping some other god other than Taraka, then he will be immediately killed. The entire earth then will become empty, devoid of good people, without the study of Vedas, without sacrificial exclamations, sacrifices, and gift giving. So, all good deeds and good activities got stopped. It became utterly devoid of good conduct, and the rules pertaining to the family were lost. All the sages and holy men can repair to mountain caves and of Shambhu, Lord of Universe. They asked, how has this demon prospered? Apart from you, the creator, the protector, the mother and destroyer of the world, to whom can we go for refuge? O Lord, he burns us arrogantly like a forest fire burn the forest. If you are feeling especially destructive, destroy the universe itself. But if not, at least destroy this demon Taraka who is harming everyone. After soliciting him in this way, they performed a difficult austerity of the highest quality, taking leaves and air as food, eating only the dry leaves fallen from the tree, and breathing only the air, consuming water for nourishment. They were eating only these, and they started performing a severe austerity. When the demon king became ignorant of these sages in this condition, he struck Brahma, having established himself in Indra's place. Then the sage then Vishnu went to milk ocean to sleep, and leaving Kailasa, Shankara too went into a cave. Means it is not just about the demigods who had left the heaven. Even Brahma had left his Sathya Loka, Vishnu had left his Vaikuntha and went into the Milky Ocean, that is the Kshira Samudra, and even Shankara had left his Kailasa, he went into some other cave. So likewise, he captured everybody, he captured everything, leaving nobody to for the nobody to shelter the gods and the good people. The world protectors and world elephants repaired to various caves, and in their place the demon king established other demons. So all the demigods who are in different places taking care of different directions, or the Varuna or the Agni, they all have been driven away from their place, and this demon Taraka had placed his people to manage them. Remaining immovable, he protected earth and the creatures. Though he, as was his nature, he roared and then shook the triple world. So he maintained all three worlds out of his fear. In deep voices, the gods, led by Indra, joyfully eulogized Girija's husband, Shankara, the lord of mountains, who was in the mountain cave. The demigods eulogized him. O overlord of the gods, whose real appearance is the moon in the sky, whose form is air and fire, the sacrificer, your real appearance is unknown to anybody. You create the unmoving and the moving creatures, you protect them. By your own wish, you alone destroy everything, O Lord, remover of others' sufferings. Since you are the highest among all, it is not fitting for you now to transfer your own glory to an enemy. Destroy him, or else all gods and sages will get destroyed. So they started eulogizing Shankara. So observe one thing here. Often Shankara is considered as a supreme deity, often Vishnu is considered as a supreme deity, and often Gajanana is considered as supreme deity. So whatever is the form and the name, it's only the form and the name changes, but there is only one supreme deity who is being associated with different forms or different names. Now the sages continue their eulogy whose minds are enveloped in the worship of the two, Shiva and Parvati. Except for you, to whom else can we go for refuge, O Lord of Mountain? Except for you, to whom else should we bow, O illustrious Mahesha? To whom else should we speak, destroyer of the wicked, O Lord of Parvati? Except for you, that Lord is really powerful, the Lord of all. So they eulogized him. They requested him that there is nobody who can protect them. The only one who can protect is the Shankara. Otherwise, the demon Taraka will going to become too powerful, which will be beyond their control. The gods eulogized him in this way for a long time until they heard a voice from the sky. All you gods, when Shiva has a son, that son of Shiva will do the Taraka's destruction. Act diligently for that. On giving ear to that voice from the sky, all the gods became filled with ecstatic joy, and led by Indra, the gods reached the abode of that god on Kailasa. But they did not see Shankara there. In front of them, they saw Uma in the form of primary matter, and they made themselves known to her. Savior, who gives the knowledge of save us from the evil Taraka, who has oppressed the three worlds. In order that he is destroyed, you should reflect upon the gods and sages who have fallen from their places, O Mother, because it is necessary for Parvati now to get married with Shiva, so that from them but about to be born the Skanda, and that Skanda will going to kill the demon Taraka. So they started eulogizing the mother. O Mother, creator and destroyer of the triple world, Sarvani, Tripura, a portion of whom which is highest than the highest, the gods led by Brahma eulogized her. We are bowing to you, who has produced the Vedas, make this universe a right place to live. You whom the gods cannot describe, O Shiva's wife, whose beautiful body has acquired her own wish, who captivates the gods, who was the first of all, O faultless goddess. Solicited on this way by the gods, the mother of the universe said to them, I am aware of the voice from the sky, and Shiva will happily do it. All of you go to where Shankara is located, having taken up a severe restraint. He is because Shankara himself is performing a severe austerity. So, in some way, his austerity must be disturbed so that Shankara could able to open his eye and he could able to see Parvati, and if Parvati and Shiva unites, from them arises Khanda. Having said this to all the gods, she assumed the appearance of a bill woman, a forest woman, on seeing whom the highest yogi would have been struck by the Kama's arrows. Then the gods too become agitated with lust, and Urvashi, Menaka, Rambha, Purvachitti, and Rati became embarrassed after they had seen the beauty of all her limbs. Parvati, the mountain born, was born to the Himavat, went to Shiva, the Sthanu, who had become rigid, his eyes unmoving in meditation, meditating with his mind, muttering the sacred hymns without possession. And so all of the gods and the Bill woman watched the three-eyed god Mahesha. Then Uma said to all those gods, "Here is the means for bringing happiness. This is Sadashiva, who is firm in austerity and has virtually passed beyond the body. You must persuade Kama to arouse his bodily feelings, because he should now get back into this world so that he could get in love with Parvati. When Sadashiva, who is grounded in unity, is pierced by an arrow, his bodily feelings will be aroused, and then he will do your job of giving, of helping, allowing Parvati to give birth to Skanda." Then all the gods called to mind the haughty Kam, uh, Kama, who is capable of disturbing Ishvara's tapas. And when Kama had come, those who were resolved upon completion of their own task spoke to him, and still others solicited the mind-born Kama concerning his own task. Among being moving and unmoving, you are the Lord, and you alone produce this creation and pervade this universe. Because it's quite natural. But it is the God of love who pervades, who creates this world and pervades the whole universe. Everyone from the weak to the strongest becomes filled with desire just because of karma. Without you, this entire universe, both moving and unmoving, will be worthless. So you must undertake this task, which is so important for everyone. It is basically to disturb Shiva so that Shiva could see Parvati and get in love with her, so that that would result in the birth of Skanda. Then Kama replied to them, "Although I do not have the means as commanded, I will perform this task until death in order to please you all. With an arrow on the soft string of a wholesome bow, the glance of a young woman, and the appointment of spring as my only assistant, O gods, I will conquer all the immortals, including Shankara." So, having said so, Kama then went to Shankara. After saying this, Kama went to where Sadashiva was located in order to enchant the god Shankara for accomplishment of the god's task. Thus ends chapter 84 of Upasana Khanda of the glorious Ganesha Purana, in which we have seen the power of demon Taraka, who captured all the three worlds, and not just, even captured Sathya Loka, Vaikuta Loka, and the Kailasa Loka. And because of that reason, the gods and the good people have nobody to shelter them or nobody to offer them the protection. Then all of them went and eulogized Shiva, but the Shiva was involved in the deep austerity himself. And then they came searching for the Mother Parvati, and they eulogized her. Then Mother Parvati assured them that once the penance or the tapas of Shankara is disturbed and his glance fell on Parvati, it would lead to union of Shiva and Parvati, which would lead to the birth of Skanda. But then she took the form of a bill woman, a forest woman, and went in front of Shankara. But Shankara had his eyes closed and totally with himself, with oneself. He was not in a position to even have a look at her. And in order to disturb Shiva's austerity, they all then worshipped and pleaded with Kama and asking him to use his power to disturb Shiva. Let us see how Kama will succeed in that and how it will lead to the birth of Skanda. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmira Puravasini Twamaham Pramarthaye Nityam Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.